The NFL Today on CBS Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines.
Welcome back. Right now, the new windows simplifies today's game in Miami between the Bills and the Dolphins as we get you first on the field. Let's send you out there live with our announcers, Bill McAtee and Steve Tasker. Gentlemen.
Thank you, JB. Sun Life Stadium on a warm October day in South Florida as we are ready for an AFC East battle between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. And a look at the standings shows that this is an important week for both these teams, a game that could set the tone for the rest of the season. And hello, everyone. Bill McAtee along with Steve Tasker. We welcome all of you to South Florida. And Steve, this could be one of those crossroads games that really means something when you look back at it. Let's start with the Miami Dolphins coming off a bye week, trying to get back into the win column. They're a team that likes to throw the football, and to do that, they've got a fine young quarterback in his second year out of Texas A&M and Ryan Tannehill.
Well, Ryan Tannehill has shown marked improvement in every way you can measure a young quarterback. His completion percentage is up, his yardage is up, his touchdowns are up, his third down efficiency is up, his quarterback rating is up. He has really taken a step forward and really given the Miami Dolphins fans a lot of hope that he'll be the guy for the next handful, maybe even a decade of years. And he's done it throwing it to 4 different guys, and this is another sign of his progression. He spreads the football around an awful lot, and he's made all this improvement behind an offensive line that has really struggled here in South Florida.
And that offensive line has been scrutinized. They've given up 24 sacks, on pace to set the dubious lead mark in that category, and the running game has been almost non-existent.
Well, this running game has been historically bad. 2 of the worst rushing days in Dolphins team history have happened this season. Lamar Miller and Daniel Thomas have really had no place to run, and it's been that has caused Ryan Tannehill to take a lot of pressure in the pocket. Really, the concern here for the Dolphins is not that Ryan Tannehill can't do it behind that offensive line, but that he may not be physically able to compete when he's knocked around so much. They're really worried about his ability to finish the season, given the problems their offensive line has had in the run game.
For Buffalo, it really is one of the great stories in the National Football League. He was on the practice squad 2 weeks ago. Thad Lewis played great last week against Cincinnati, almost rallied them from 2 touchdowns down to win late, although they lost in overtime. But this guy now comes home to South Florida kind of to complete the circle as a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Well, it's interesting you bring up the practice squad. He was a scout team gunner on the punt team 2 weeks ago, but yet he played so well on the practice squad for the Bills that the veterans were really impressed with him. In fact, head coach Doug Marrone told us he felt he would have lost the locker room had he not given this guy the ball to start last week against Cincinnati. He's a firm believer that this team knows this guy gives them their best chance. And today he'll get Stevie Johnson back, and for the first time this season, the Buffalo Bills have all 4 of their top wide receivers healthy and on the field at the same time.
And what the Bills do better than almost anybody in the National Football League is run the football. To do that, they've got a great 1-2 punch in Spiller and Jackson.
Now, both these guys are nicked up. Spiller with an ankle, Freddie Jackson with a knee, but there's no question that the Miami Dolphins have got to find a solution for this Bills running attack. They run it well, they run it effectively, and the Bills are so good they can run it when they want to, not when they have to.
And now it's Tools for Success, presented by Home Depot.
Well, for the Bills, Mario Williams is one of the top pass rushers in the National Football League. He's going to be licking his chops along with the rest of the Bills' defensive front to get in the backfield for Ryan Tannehill against that bad offensive line of the Dolphins. And for the Dolphins, Charles Clay, a tight end who started the season as just a fill-in player, has really emerged as a go-to guy. And for the Dolphins, there it is. They've got to keep Ryan Tannehill upright in the pocket. And for the Buffalo Bills, Thaddeus Minimus. Thad Lewis has got a lot of weapons in this offense. If he can get the ball out of his hands, the Buffalo Bills could have a big day in South Florida.
Week 7, longtime rivals in the AFC East. The Bills and the Dolphins from South Florida is coming up here on CBS. The sun is out. Week 7 in the National Football League as we're back in Miami for the Bills and the Dolphins. And today's game is being broadcast in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. Miami coming off the bye week, trying to regroup. The Bills trying to rally around their young quarterback, Thad Lewis, who has come home to South Florida.
CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
A warm, humid day here in South Florida. Temperatures forecast in the high 80s. Two head coaches, Doug Marrone in his first season at the helm for the Bills, coming over from Syracuse. He actually played for the Dolphins on their offensive line back in 1987. And Joe Philbin in his second year leading the Dolphins after 5 seasons as the offensive coordinator in Green Bay. Dolphins won the toss. They'll receive. This is the 95th regular season meeting between these two teams. Miami holds the edge 56-37 and won. The last time they met here in South Florida was week 16 of last season, and the Dolphins won it 24-10. And the longtime kicker for the Dolphins now with the Bills, Dan Carpenter, gets us started. From the 2, Thigpen. And tackled at the 16-yard line, and that is where the Dolphins and Ryan Tannehill will take over 1st and 10. Tannehill coming off his first 300-yard passing day here at home before the bye week. He has played well here at Sun Life Stadium over the last 4 games here in Miami. He's thrown for almost 900 yards with 7 touchdowns, Steve, and only 1 interception.
Yeah, you can see, too, that he only completed 52% of his passes against Baltimore and still threw for 300 yards. They threw it almost every down in the second half of that game.
Start on the ground with Daniel Thomas. Fights his way for a couple of yards. Thomas in his 3rd year out of Kansas State. The Dolphins offensive line, we talked about the 24 sacks. Richie Incognito made the Pro Bowl after a brief stop in Buffalo. Starting at left guard, Mike Wallace, the former Steeler, big free agent signing for Miami, starting to find some rhythm in this Dolphins offense, and they want to try to get him involved early. Thomas stays in the game. 2nd and 5. Just underway here in South Florida. Go! Movement before the snap. That was the left tackle, Jonathan Martin.
After that first successful run, really you don't understand how crucial that first down run was to get 5 yards. That's something that the Dolphins have struggled with. You see the Bills front line there. And
they have a solid and physical front 7. Mario Williams comes in with 8 sacks at linebacker. The rookie Kiko Alonso has been tremendous. 2nd-round pick, comes in leading the NFL in tackles. The secondary banged up but getting better. Bird and Gilmore have returned, but Gilmore still limited with that big cast on his left wrist. 2nd and 10 after the penalty. Thomas trying to get to the edge. Makes a little move and is stopped at the 20.
So even with the penalty and that nice 4-yard run off the right side, brings up 3rd and 6. That's still a better option than what the Dolphins have been facing for most of their first 6 games. Their rushing attack has been so bad at times, it's been 3rd and 10 or nothing.
On 3rd down and intercepted. And a touchdown for the Buffalo Bills. Nikel Roby, the undrafted rookie out of USC, with the pick 6.
Well, he was playing man-to-man and just jumped the route. The Buffalo Bills so used to making sure that the quarterback gets the ball out of his hand very quickly. You'll see at the bottom, just jumps the route of Gibson and cuts underneath it. This secondary helped out so much by the fact that they get pressure up front. Those defensive backs are so confident that the ball has to come out. They'll jump those short routes, and you saw it paid off for Roby right there.
So Tannehill, who has been so solid and done a good job avoiding interceptions, there's a pick 6 there, and the Bills are on the board first. 13-27 left to go in the opening quarter. An interception by the rookie, and the Bills lead it 7-0. Nikel Roby in the nickel package, a 19-yard interception return for a touchdown. Gives the visiting Buffalo Bills the early lead. 6th interception thrown this year by Ryan Tannehill. Talked about how well Stevie's played at home, but clearly that was an errant throw.
If there's one thing that he's spoken in open, he has gotten better in every category. The one he has not is his interceptions. He has 6 interceptions, 6 touchdowns.
Carpenter boots it away. Then steps out of the end zone, so they'll bring it out to the 20.
If you look back at the touchdown, you'll watch here. They're just going to rush 4 over the Bills so they can drop 8 guys into coverage all back here. That gives these defensive backs a chance to really jump on the short routes, knowing they've got help over the top. Nikel Roby doesn't even backpedal, takes 1 step backwards and then jumps right in front of Gibson. Tannehill had to get rid of it even with a 4-man rush, and it turned into a pick 6.
Roby played his college ball at USC, but he's from Florida. Moves a trip across the country. Miami keeps it on the ground. Just moved back inside by Thomas, and a good pickup on first down.
See here, even now, the Miami Dolphins coming out as a nice run on first down. A little missed tackle right there with a 2-yard gain turned into a 6-yard gain as the Dolphins. I mean, there's no team in the league that will benefit more from an improved running game than Joe Philbin and these Dolphins. So many of their problems will be solved if they can run the ball as well as they have on the first couple of downs in these 2 series that just began.
Lamar Miller checks in. They'll operate from the gun on 2nd and 4. And again, the read option, they keep it on the ground. Very little running room for Miller inside. Corbin Bryant made the stop.
Despite the thing that just happened in the opener, now he's got 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. But yeah, I mean, you can see the difference from last year to this year. Just marked improvement all across the board, and also, you know, in his presence in the huddle and the fact that this is now becoming his team as a starting face of the franchise quarterback. Everything looks better for Tannehill despite what happened just a moment ago.
3rd and 2, play the motion man, the tight end. Tannehill going through his progression, now flush from the pocket and incomplete, intended for Clay. So after the pick 6 to start in their first possession, it's 3 and out for the Dolphins on their second.
Pardon me for saying this as an old guy who used to cover kicks for a living. I've been waiting to see Brandon Fields take the field. A lot of people in Buffalo may not know this guy. He's averaging over 50 yards a punt. And as a guy who used to do that for a living, chase those things, I'm kind of excited to see him kick. I got to admit.
He can be a huge field position weapon for the Dolphins. Boots that one. Didn't get all of it. Fielded at the 26-yard line by Kelvin. Tries to get to the outside and pushed out of bounds near the 35. A 46-yard punt and a 9-yard return. And there's a marker down back at the 30-yard line.
This is right at the line of scrimmage.
During the kick, holding number 15 of the return team. The penalty is 10 yards from the end of the kick. First down, Buffalo. Timeout.
Gene Steratore, our referee today, and there is Thad Lewis coming home as a starting quarterback in the NFL.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
We're back, opening possession for the Bills. They've scored a defensive touchdown, 7-0 Buffalo. 12 minutes left in the first. Thad Lewis, who sustained a foot injury in that performance last week against the Bengals. X-rays were negative, so he's back and starting again this week, and down he goes. Sacked on first down. Olivier Vernon with a sack for the 3rd consecutive game. Look at the numbers for Thad Lewis last week against Cincinnati. He threw for 2 touchdowns and ran in another. Making his 3rd start in the NFL today, 2nd for the Buffalo Bills. 2nd and 15. Lewis on the slant, incomplete. Tried to hit Stevie Johnson, who couldn't bring it in. Well, the Bills solid up front. They released Colin Brown this past week. Doug Legursky starts at left guard. Jackson, C.J. Spiller, mentioned one of the best duos in the league. Spiller's been fighting through an ankle injury. Stevie Johnson back after missing last week with a bad back. 3rd and 15. Lewis trying to set up the screen. Jackson with some running room and a first down. Fred Jackson finally pushed out of bounds and grabbing his left knee.
And that's one thing that could not be a worse sign for the Buffalo Bills. Freddie Jackson carrying the brunt of the offensive running with C.J. Spiller hobbled with an ankle. Although Spiller is active, Freddie Jackson was going to be the main ball carrier today, as he was a week ago against Cincinnati. And of course, as you can see, left knee, and he is in some discomfort right on the sideline.
He has been the workhorse of this Buffalo offense, being tended to on the sideline. Good news for the Buffalo Bills. Fred Jackson is up. He walked over to the bench under his own power. See, Steve, where the injury occurred.
Yeah, and that's Chandler, the tight end, who was coming over trying to help out and just rolled him up. Could have been a lot worse than that, but you can see the leg quiver as he tried to have it. He had his cleat in the ground and got rolled up on it.
Picked up the first down, a 21-yard gain. So first and 10, C.J. Spiller gets the carry. Out to the 33-yard line. Dolphins defensively. Miami happy to see Cameron Wake getting healthy again. He's had sacks in his last 3 games against the Bills. The linebackers will try to slow down the Buffalo rushing attack. Ellerbe is out, so Trusnick starts in the middle, and the secondary, Dimitri Patterson is active but didn't start, and once again it will be Carroll and Grimes at the corners. 2nd and 9. Now move the flat, Spiller, and he's dropped immediately. Great penetration by the Miami Dolphins. Odrick made the stop, and let's check in with the fellas in New York for an update here in Week 7.
Geno Smith engineered drive.
Opening drive, 12 plays, 80 yards. Geno Smith right here to Jeremy Curley from 12 yards out, and the Jets on the board first. 7-0 over New England.
Starting off good up there. Let's go back to Bill McAtee and Steve Tasker.
All right, guys, thank you. The Jets coming off a season low, 267 yards total last week in their loss to Pittsburgh. 3rd and long for the Bills, 3rd and 14. They go back to the screen to Shard Choice. Can't haul it in, and that'll bring up 4th down in the punting unit.
Yeah, it is obvious early on the Dolphins are bringing a lot of pressure. They're standing a lot of guys at the line of scrimmage. They only rush 4, but as you can see, both linebackers drop out of the front, so it's up to the offensive line to sort through that. Early on, the Dolphins really bringing pressure on Thad Lewis. A week ago, the Bengals did not do that, and the times when they did, Lewis threw for 2 touchdowns in the face of 2 blitzes, but the Dolphins, unfazed by it, are really bringing pressure in the early goal.
Here's Brian Moorman, who rejoined the Bills last week, had an outstanding day against Cincinnati. 2-time Pro Bowler, has almost every Bills punting record, and this is a good one. Bigpen had to retreat back to the 10, looking for some running room. A marker is down as he brings it out to about the 21-yard line. That was a 62-yard punt by Brian Moorman.
That thing was a rocket. And it's going to be a hold against the Dolphins. Ron Brooks, working on the far side, just got collared right at in front of the returner. It was an easy call by the official. And this will set the Dolphins back inside their own 10-yard line.
During the return, holding return team number 25. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down, Miami. Timeout.
R.J. Stanford called for the infraction. 7-0 Bills.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. Powerful answers. And by USAA, proudly serving the financial needs of current and former military members and their families.
Long field for the Dolphins as they take over at their own 7-yard line, playing its first divisional game today. The only other team in the league who has not played a divisional game yet is Carolina. They will play their first next week when they take on Tampa Bay on Thursday night. Incomplete, intended for Mike Wallace, who's coming off his second 100-yard game as a Dolphin. Before the bye against Baltimore, 7 catches for 105 yards against the Ravens. Dolphins want him to be, Steve, their big play receiver, but he's yet to break one. Came in averaging less than 13 yards a catch.
And that was a good illustration of what's been the problem. That route took a long time to develop, and Ryan Tannehill just hasn't had the time this far this season to consistently wait on Mike Wallace to get free.
In formation, they run it left side. Miller squirts through across the 10-yard line, close to the 11. Miller from Miami came in leading the Dolphins with 211 yards and 2 touchdowns on 50 carries.
Yeah, it'll be interesting on this 3rd and 7 how the Bills would choose to attack Ryan Tannehill. The thought would be that if you can get pressure on, send more pressure, get there quicker, or do you drop into coverage knowing you can get some pressure with just 4 rushers and try and do it that way. And we saw a pick 6 with just 4 rushers. We'll see if the Bills stick with that again.
3 receivers set. Tannehill from his own end zone. Receiver fell down. That was Hartline and incomplete. An inauspicious series for the Dolphins.
Once again, Ryan Tannehill finishes the play, picking himself up off the ground. That one in the back of the end zone, doing what he could just to end that play. You'll watch. That is within 1 step. Two-handed push out the back of the end zone.
So we'll see Brandon Fields again, standing about 5 yards deep in the Miami end zone. Boots this one. Good high punt. Kelvin unfortunately lets it take a Miami bounce. And there's a marker, and it's down at about the 16.
Well, what happened, the reason the penalty came out, well, as you'll see, Don Jones stepped out of bounds, and he's the guy that caught the punt on the bounce. And it's an illegal touch by the Dolphins. It's a 5-yard penalty against them, which will be tacked on to the end of this kick. What a kick it was by Fields.
A 74-yard punt.
And this ball got up in the air, came down, bounced. McKelvin let it bounce, thinking it was going to be out of bounds. It hugged the sidelines and went right down the field.
Illegal touching. Kicking team number 36 was blocked out of bounds. Returned and was first to touch the kick. That's a 5-yard penalty. We will repeat. 4th down.
And that's enormous for the Buffalo Bills. You miss a over 70-plus yard kick, and now Fields has got to do it again with a 5-yard penalty. Right here is where he got blocked out of bounds. Now, once you're out of bounds as a coverage guy, you can't touch the football first. You see the kick land just in bounds and then continue down the field, and of course Jones touches it, which is illegal. And now, and it's been my contention for a long time, when you have to re-kick as a punt unit, it's dangerous because you're gassed, you're tired, you got to get into a fist fight, a running fist fight to go down and cover the kick again. And then you've got a fresh return man back there trying to return it. And this should be a huge benefit for the Bills. This isn't going to be more than a 5-yard penalty.
Fields standing at the back of the end zone now. That 74-yard punt negated. Trying to do it again, and this is much shorter. McKelvin fields it at the 43, and the Bills are going to have great field position. Returns into Miami territory near the 45-yard line.
35-yard penalty at the end of it.
And Lewis ready to go back to work.
You are watching the NFL on CBS.
So Jackson back in the game after the penalty, a net difference of 40 yards, and the Bills set up shop at the Miami 44-yard line. Lewis throws on 1st down. That is a 1st down to Lee Smith, the tight end. Down close to the 25, a pickup of 19.
You know, we talk about how these things go with quarterbacks and Thad Lewis as they attempt to go no huddle here. For the first time, the Buffalo Bills put on the football field Marquise Goodwin and TJ Graham, 2 guys that can really scoot. They send those guys deep, which leaves it open underneath to big guys like Lee Smith, and that's one of the things the Bills have not been able to do thus far in the season, get all their wide receivers and all the speed they drafted on the field.
Spiller has checked in, and he gets it on 1st down. Bounces it to the outside. What a run by C.J. Spiller, and another 1st down for Buffalo.
As you can see there, C.J. Spiller having trouble slowing down out of bounds. He motions for his help, and that'll send Tashard Choice onto the field. Both these running backs for the Bills, Jackson, of course, we saw earlier have to leave the game, and Spiller just not 100%. Now they're gutting it out and giving everything they've got, but they're compromised physically, and their production's going to suffer because of it.
Spiller still bothered by that ankle injury, which he says makes it difficult to cut. So Tashard Choice checks in, fights his way down to the 11.
Injuries are quirky things, and Spiller's the thing where you can see there as he bursts to the outside, he's got plenty of wheels, but when he cuts or turns, that's when it's really painful.
Philip Wheeler made the stop. He's been a good addition to this Miami defense coming over from the Raiders. Meanwhile, there's an injured player on the field. That's Vernon, the Dolphins defensive end.
We had a chance to speak with Wheeler on Friday as we see Vernon, who's a guy who's already got a sack today. These guys chasing around the Buffalo Bills quarterback, which has been the real story for the Bills this season, as it started all the way back in training camp as it started all the way back when they signed Kevin Cobb and drafted E.J. Manuel in the first round. Those are the guys who they expected to take just about every snap during this football season. Of course, Kevin Cobb gets hurt in the preseason. E.J. Manuel named starter and was progressing nicely, then took a hit in Cleveland, and that led them down the road. Thaddeus Lewis.
We talked to Thad Lewis yesterday. He knows 4 years of sitting in meetings, watching film, standing on the sideline, running the other team's offense. He knows he was a long shot even to get this opportunity. So trying to take full advantage of it with E.J. Manuel still 4 to 6 weeks away from returning. On second down, Lewis to his tight end, Chandler, driven back at the 5.
That's going to be close to a first down. It looks like it's going to be just short.
Sean Jones, the safety, made the stop.
And this near
third leading tackler.
And is there, excuse me, Bill, in the third early going, the Bills tight ends showing up in a big way. And this crucial third and very short is something the Bills need to be better at.
Choice, and he's got a first down. It'll be first and goal inside the 5 for the Buffalo Bills, already leading 7-0.
You know, I don't think Choice is the choice for the Bills. I think Freddie Jackson is their normal short yardage goal line. He's the guy, as you see him come into the game, he's the guy that has the knack for the inside running and getting every inch out of a run. And yet, because of, I think, the fact that he had to leave the game once, now Spiller's out, I think Jashard Choice is going to have a much greater role today as this game wears on.
First and goal, the delay, touchdown. Fred Jackson.
It all started with a 40-yard penalty on the punt team, a couple of completions to the tight ends, and a power running game down inside the 10-yard line. And Freddie Jackson, after leaving the game with a hurt knee, comes in and powers his way in to give the Buffalo Bills a 13-point lead.
5th rushing touchdown this season. Came in with over 500 yards from scrimmage and 32 first downs, and he has been really the go-to back for the Buffalo Bills, with Spiller nursing that injured ankle. Carpenter with the extra point against his former teammates, and the Bills out quickly, 14-0 here in Miami. Short field for the Bills. They go 44 yards in 6 plays, capped by the 3-yard touchdown run by Fred Jackson, 5th rushing touchdown this season.
And a botched punt coverage was a huge gift.
Unable to take advantage of that 70-plus yard punt because of the penalty.
And it ended up being a net difference of 40 yards of field position. That's a punt in and of itself. They lost an entire punt play with a mental mistake on punt coverage.
And Carpenter ready to kick it away with a 14-0 lead for the Bills. 5 yards deep in the end zone. Thigpen takes a knee, and they'll bring it out to the 20. Well, the NFL lost one of its real legends this past week. Bum Phillips passed away Friday at the age of 90. He coached the Oilers from 75 to 80. 5 seasons with the Saints. He led the Oilers to back-to-back AFC championship games in his first 2 seasons, and they broke the mold when they made this man Bum Phillips.
I met him on a number of occasions, played for his son Wade, who was defensive coordinator in Buffalo and head coach in Buffalo, and one of the true legends of the game, known for being beloved as well as being a great coach.
There'll never be another like Bum Phillips. First down, Tannehill. And that was almost picked off. Mike Wallace made the catch.
And now they're
McKelvin had a great break on the ball, and now they're going to say he didn't control it before he went out of bounds. Incomplete.
McKelvin thought he had a piece of it, and it looks like, you can't see it from that angle, but the official came in from upfield and said he did not control it as he left the field, and Wallace didn't beef the call. I was surprised.
Tannehill 0 for 5 with the interception that was returned for a touchdown. So not a good start for this Dolphin offense, which relies on the pass.
28.
2nd and 10. Play action. Tannehill rolling out, trying to find someone open. Throws it into the field to Wallace, who makes a diving catch near the 40.
That makes up for the play just a moment ago as Ryan Tannehill moving out of contain and the Bills losing contain in the pocket. Wallace being, you notice McKelvin not really respecting his speed, kind of waiting for him to break his route off. Does a nice job as everybody's covered up. Tannehill throws it back inside, and Wallace making the great adjustment from his years in Pittsburgh, doing that a lot.
With Ben Roethlisberger.
28. Go, go.
So 1st and 10 from the 38. Back to the ground for the Dolphins. Running room inside. A nice effort by Thomas. And once again, let's go back to JB and Coach Gower in New York for an update.
Patriots D helping out.
Yeah, Geno Smith, he had 3 picks in the first meeting. Right here, Logan Ryan steps in front. The rookie from Rutgers coming back home, takes it 79 yards for the touchdown. That puts New England up 14-7.
Getting it done all the way around. Back to Bill and Steve.
Thank you, guys. Patriots came in leading the AFC East by a game and a half over Miami. 2nd and short, I formation for the Dolphins. Keep it on the ground, over left tackle. Thomas, and he's got a 1st down for the Dolphins near midfield. Moats made the stop.
You know, this running game for the Dolphins has been really a high note for them today, has really been effective. And over the bye week, there was a lot of clamoring here in South Florida that they would change their lineup. Mike Sherman would insert other players, but in fact today they actually deactivated Danny Watkins and also some other offensive linemen as well, Dallas Thomas. So they're sticking with this lineup, and it appears to be the right move today.
Tannehill with time. That is caught by Hartline for another Miami 1st down. And there's a marker down near where the tackle was made.
This was away from the play in the middle of the field. This is going to go, it looks like, against Buffalo.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 50, 15-yard penalty after the end of the run. 1st down.
They call that on the rookie, Kiko Alonso.
And he doesn't know why that was called. Look at him. He doesn't know what's going on. He's got a big question mark on his face about what did I do? And they might have gotten the number wrong. We'll see if we can get a look at the end of that play, because the flag was away from where the receiver caught the football.
So 14 yards on the play, plus 15 with the penalty.
And I'll admit, I did not see anything like that happen.
Penalties have been a problem for the Buffalo Bills. Second most penalized team in the National Football League. Again on the ground, Thomas fights his way for 4 or 5 yards. Bird made the stop. Jarris Bird inactive for the first 5 games before coming back last week, a big part of this Buffalo secondary.
And sometimes what happens when you get a player like Jarris Bird, a player of his caliber back, you think everything's going to get better right away. Well, in fact, it takes him, he's running a new defense than he has earlier in his career. It's going to take him some time to get acclimated as well. So it may not be the cure-all for the Bills secondary to have their best player back in the game right away.
Dolphins have been very good in the red zone. 2nd and 5. Tannehill, the slant. Gibson can't hang on. Dolphins have not been very good, Steve, at running the football, coming off their 2nd game of the season where they failed to gain at least 25 yards on the ground. They had only 22 yards rushing against Baltimore before the bye. To put that into perspective, only 2 teams since 1950 have rushed for 25 yards or less 3 times in a season. Carolina in 2000, the Lions in 06. The Dolphins one game away from tying that mark, although they have been able to run the ball successfully so far today. 3rd and 5. Tannehill with time, lost it, intercepted, a terrible pass, and Aaron Williams comes down with it on the ball intended for Brian Hartline.
And they're going to say that the tackle was made outside the end zone, and it'll be Buffalo Bills ball on their 1-yard line. The Bills don't care right at the moment, and that was a very poorly thrown ball by Tannehill. It was a flutterer, didn't have enough on it. It was going to be short from the moment it left his hand, and he was under no pressure, made a quick decision. You can see who he was throwing. He saw Hartline, but he underthrew that ball badly, and Hartline makes the tackle. And you see the fluttering of the football as Aaron Williams pulls it in.
Tannehill had thrown only 1 interception in his last 4 games here at home, already 2 today.
The reason it's not a touchback is because for Aaron Williams, he got thrown forward towards the goal line of the Dolphins, so it's forward progress.
From the 2, Jackson. Tackled by Cameron Wake, fights for a yard or so.
And now the flag comes in. There's a big pushing and shoving match. Cordy Glenn out there getting it mixed up. And it looks to be Jared Audrick.
Audrick and Glenn getting after it a little bit. Chiefs territory talking it over.
Might pick this flag up.
There is no foul on the play. 2nd down, Buffalo.
And I think that's the right call. He'll wag his finger at both players and let them off the hook because it would be offsetting anyway. Here's the pick. Now he'll pick it, but here's the thing. He's advancing the football to his goal line this direction, which means that's his forward progress. That's where he's down. And unfortunately for the Bills, it was not a touchback. It happened so fast, I don't think Williams just really realized he could kneel it. If he could get down, it would be a much better play.
2nd and 9. Lewis from his own end zone. Guns it. That is caught by Robert Woods, the rookie out of USC. 2nd round draft pick, wrapped up quickly by Nolan Carroll. A gain of 7. Robert Woods came in with 18 catches for 274 yards, 2 touchdowns. You talk to player personnel people from around the league, they said Woods was probably the most NFL-ready wide receiver coming out of college this year. 3rd and 2 for the Bills. They lead it 14-0. Lewis with time. Stevie Johnson, 1st down, and he's loose and finally out of bounds at the 24. A gain of 14 yards and a 1st down for Buffalo.
And you saw me circle the 3 wide receivers at the top and bunched up. One of the reasons they do that is it gives them some help in discerning with the man coverage. It gives problems to the secondary. It also helps them with their protection. One of those receivers could come off and chip, and they do that to give one extra look to the defensive front of the Dolphins. And they also get some benefit of it as Stevie Johnson comes open.
From the 24. Delay and a mix-up. Spiller trying to get to the outside, and he'll lose a couple yards, pushed out of bounds. Olivier Vernon back in the game, a loss of 5.
And C.J. Spiller once again asking for some help as Tashard Choice comes back on. Miami Dolphins had the Bills bottled up inside their 5-yard line, and now get them into a 2nd and 16. This is a 2nd and 15. This is a point where the Dolphins really need to make a stand defensively to break the momentum that the Buffalo Bills have grabbed here in the 1st quarter.
Lewis under center. Choice in the backfield. Short drop. Finally throws it out to him. The ball is on the ground. That might have been a lateral. So Choice wisely covers it.
Might have been a lateral incomplete pass as well.
The ruling on the field was a backward pass. Muffed and recovered by Buffalo. 3rd down.
There you go. Good call by you. And you see this. Yeah, that would have been an incomplete pass, but because, as you heard, it was backward, it's a live ball, and Choice alertly gets back on it after he muffed it.
This is the end of the 1st
So that's the end of the first quarter. 14-0 Buffalo will return to Miami after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Thad Lewis grew up just 4 miles away from Sun Life Stadium. As a Dolphins fan, watched all the games on TV. Remember seeing Dan the Man and those great Marino Kelly duels. He has 16 tickets for today's game. His mom Renee, who now lives in Dallas, is here as well. Facing a 3rd and 20. And he comes on the blitz, trying to set up a screen to Jackson with some running room, but well short of the first down. Philip Wheeler made the stop, and that'll bring out the punting unit.
That's the stop the Dolphins needed after dropping 14 points, one on a pick six, and then a sustained drive by Buffalo after a bad penalty on a punt. Team gave them a short field. They're looking at a 14-point deficit and have had the ball turned over twice by Ryan Tannehill. The defense needed to stop this Buffalo offense to give their own offense a chance to get something going.
And back with the Bills, he punted for almost a 50-yard average last week against Cincinnati. Gets this one away. Big pin from the 31. And wrapped up at about the 37-yard line. Just a 39-yard punt just underway in the second quarter here in Miami. Nothing Buffalo as the Dolphins take over at their own 38-yard line. Tannehill has thrown 2 interceptions already today out of the shotgun. Gives it to Lamar Miller with some running room inside. Miller. And a big gain all the way down to the 32-yard line of the Bills. McKelvin finally brought him down.
Well, he just got the Bills defense moving this direction. He cuts right up behind them and then just weaves his way through. Great job up front by the offensive line of the Dolphins. The Bills defenders slanting to the right. And running back slanting back to the left.
Is down. They run the reverse. Wallace trying to get it to the outside and does. Down to the 20. Stephon Gilmore made the stop, a gain of 12.
Well, the Dolphins watched the Buffalo Bills play the Cincinnati Bengals last week, and the Bills were really hurt by big misdirection plays and wide receiver screens. Mike Wallace, one of the most dangerous athletes in the NFL if you can get him in space, and this little 10-yard run, I mean, when he gets the ball in the backfield, people really hold their breath because he's a home run waiting to happen.
And the Dolphins quickly downfield. 1st and 10 from the Buffalo 20.
Go!
Short drop, Tannehill completes it out to Hartline, who's dropped inside the 15 down to the 13 by Gilmore. Well, fantasy football fans, check out CBSSports.com Player Challenge, a new 4-week game with a cash prize in every league. See rules and sign up at CBSSports.com/challenge. Dolphins threatening 2nd and 3 after the gain of 7. Tannehill changing the play. Miller in the backfield. Tannehill rolling out. Hits Miller. And driven out of bounds at the 9.
Well, Miller did a nice job, and so did Tannehill. Manny Lawson banged into Miller as he tried to release and took him out of his route. Tannehill, with his speed, kept the play alive and then finally did get the ball to Miller. Watch there as Lawson kind of whacks Miller, and Miller uses the momentum to get away from Lawson and get the first down. Tannehill patient, stayed with it, knew he could throw it away. If it didn't develop that way, it made the play with his legs.
Already with 78 yards rushing today. They had only 22 the week before the bye 2 weeks ago against the Ravens. Tannehill from the gun, and he's going to run it up the middle. Fights his way to about the 12-yard line. Kyle Williams made the stop.
Miami has been very, very good in the red zone this year. 14 trips inside. They've scored on every red zone possession and 10 touchdowns. So they know how to finish it up. Even without a running game, This is a team that has been very good when they've been in scoring position.
He got it down to the 7-yard line. It's 2nd and goal for Miami. Trailing 14-0. Empty backfield. 4 receivers set for Tannehill. Quickly out into the flat. That's caught by Clay, the tight end. And touchdown, Miami. And he has turned out to be a great weapon for the Dolphins, on pace to shatter Randy Michaels' team record of 791 receiving yards by a tight end.
Well, we said in the open that Charles Clay was a guy that could have been a weapon, a tough matchup for Buffalo, and right there in the red zone, he proved it.
Sturgis with the extra point, and the Miami Dolphins with an impressive drive are on the board. 10:59 left to go in the half. 14-7 Buffalo.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by FedEx. Request when and where your packages are delivered with FedEx Delivery Manager. Chrysler, imported from Detroit. And by State Farm. It pays to double check. Talk to your agent today.
(14-7) Buffalo as the Dolphins find the end zone. 7-yard touchdown reception by Charles Clay, his 3rd of the season. He's really taken over a more prominent role for the Dolphins at tight end with Dustin Keller on IR. Marquise Goodwin is the deep man for the Bills, the speedster out of the University of Texas. And he'll get a chance to return this one from 3 yards deep. And Steve, let's take another look at the touchdown.
Well, the problems start pre-snap for the Bills. Jerry Hughes and Mario Williams have to switch sides because of the strength of the formation. They leave Charles Clay open, and he gets forgot. They bring pressure off the slot, and nobody can get there to pick up Clay. Confusion in the Bills secondary leads to an immediate touchdown. You could see pre-snap the Bills were having some problems deciding where they were going to bring pressure from, and it cost them.
A lot of people felt that even with Keller healthy, Clay had a chance to have a breakout season. He's that talented. So the Bills will try to respond on 1st and 10. Spiller is the deep back. And he gets it on 1st down. Tries to fight his way for a couple. And that'll bring up 2nd down.
Bills going with a 2-back set, fullback, the old-time trap plays up inside, trying to break something loose in the running game. And Doug Marrone, you think when they do that with the 2-back set later on, with the speed at wide receiver, you got to think they'll go play action at some point, but not if they don't have any success running the football.
They'll operate from the gun on 2nd and 9. Lewis with time and incomplete. Communication with Stevie Johnson.
Stevie Johnson decided he was going to break his route off at the top of it. You see here working against Patterson, and that's just a miscommunication. The quarterback has to let that football go, and after he does, Stevie Johnson broke his route off.
So 3rd and long, 3rd and 9 for Buffalo. Tight formation for the Bills. Lewis underneath Graham, and he stopped short of the 1st down. Rashad Jones made the stop.
And you can feel the momentum of this game changing, where early on it was with the Buffalo Bills with the pick 6 for the touchdown. Now the Dolphins defense is finding itself and settling in, stopping this short pass for the 1st down and forcing the Bills to punt once again.
Marcus Thigpen back deep. Had a 72-yard return for a touchdown for the Dolphins last year. Foreman, good high punt. Fair catch called for and made at the 29-yard line, a 43-yard punt. An impressive scoring drive by the Dolphins. In their last possession, they take over 1st and 10 from their own 29-yard line, trailing 14-7. And Tannehill trying to put those 2 earlier interceptions behind him.
Black woman. 28. Go.
Formation on 1st down. Been able to run the ball successfully. Thomas bangs inside, a pickup of 1. Darius made the stop. 2014 Pro Bowl ballot is open, and unconference for the first time ever. You can vote for the best players regardless of conference. Then Pro Football Hall of Famers Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders will draft unconference teams as alumni captains. Vote now for your favorite players at NFL.com/Pro Bowl ballot.
28. Go.
And call it 9 with Miami. Tannehill, lots of time, guns it to the sideline for Hartline, and makes the catch short of the 1st down.
Great protection for Tannehill as Hartline on the outside, working really hard on the outside, being guarded by Aaron Williams. Has to come back and then loses his footing. Had the 1st down and then lost it trying to turn it upfield. Brings up a 3rd and 2, but really hard work for a wide receiver, getting really physically treated by the corner Williams on the outside.
Dolphins will try to convert this 3rd and 3. We're midway through the 2nd quarter. Hartline is the motion man. Bills are showing blitz here. They come up the middle. Hartline really threw that away. Intended for Lamar Miller, but it wasn't close, and that'll bring in the punting unit.
And Brian Hartline, really the guy that really carried the load last year with 29 receptions to this point through the first 5 games. But that's really belies how important he was, because the Dolphins this year have 4 guys with 20 catches. Last year that was not the case. And you see, of course, the yards are different and the yards per catch, and that's a kind of a nod towards the problems they've had in their run game and pass protection rather than his ability.
4th round pick in 2009, considered one of the best pure route runners in the league. Good high booming punt. Kelvin making the fair catch at the 16-yard line. So Thad Lewis will go back to work. The Bills lead at 14-7.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Quicken Loans, for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze. And by Fruit of the Loom. Start happy.
Bills set up shop at their own 17 after an exchange of 3 and outs. Buffalo leads at 14-7. 2 wide receivers set for Lewis. Straight back out into the flat. Spiller. And there's a marker down near the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense number 59. Half the distance to the goal. Replay. 1st down.
Doug Legursky, the starting left guard.
Right there, and you see, not too hard to see that when Jared Oldrick comes.
I'm sure you could see that from the space shuttle.
I'm pretty sure Legursky's not denying that call.
So they move him back 1st and 18 after the penalty. Lewis stands in and fires. And a nice job by Stevie Johnson to haul that in. Had a lot of mustard on it. Let's take a look at this week's edition, Steve, of Task Force.
Well, one of the things that bothered the Dolphins in the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season was explosive play. You see here as the defense trying to loses their gap control, and with a 2-back set, the fullback comes up, picks up the safety, and it turns into a long run. That's one of the things that the Dolphins have really struggled with. They'll play great defense for a lot of the game, and then have a misstep like that really hurts them in the long run.
Empty backfield. They've only allowed 19 yards rushing. Lewis hit as he releases the football, and it's picked off.
Lewis is hurt.
Lewis is down on the turf. Chris Clements with the interception.
He got hit as he released it, as you could tell by the way the ball floated out of there. They got pressure. This is Odrick coming off from inside, and right there gets him.
On the field is an interception, with the intercepting team down by contact on the 31-yard line. First down, Miami.
And there's no question. It looks like a clean interception to me. Clemens came up with it. Clemens, who is a guy who was a really question mark coming into this game, didn't know if he was going to be healthy enough to play, and he comes up with the interception. But just enough of Lewis's arm. You see the ball just comes out. And there's no question. That's a good catch by Clemens, an interception going the other way.
Clemens in his 5th year out at Clemson, so an interception by the Dolphins and a real opportunity, trailing by 7.
Go, go.
Miller tries to find some running room, picks up maybe one. Bird made the stop.
It's Miami. I think this, after a turnover like that, you know, that's a perfect opportunity to pull the football out of the running back's stomach and try and hit one deep down the middle. I mean, you really want to go for it right after a turnover of that nature. But Miami, with all the momentum right now, offensively and defensively in their side of the football, look for them to really take a shot to get into the end zone.
2nd and 8 from the gun. Try to run it to the outside. Good penetration by the Bills, and Mario Williams drags him down from behind, and we're going to have a horse collar. There's the flag down.
And they're saying it was a horse collar or perhaps a hold. This was the lead official threw it from across the field.
No foul for a horse collar tackle. 2nd down, 3rd down.
Well, that's what he thought he saw. There were 2 guys standing right there, and they didn't call it. Now, if he gets the jersey, which is what he's got right there, that's not a horse collar, and that's a good no call. See, if he gets inside the collar, that's a horse collar. This, he had the jersey, and even if he does grab a handle inside or an edge of the pad underneath the jersey, that's okay.
Loss of 4 on the play, so that brings up 3rd and 12 for the Dolphins. Bills are showing blitz, and here they come. Tannehill had to get rid of it quickly. Threw it into the turf, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Foul for intentional grounding. Number 26 was in the area. 4th down.
Yeah, the Bills bring 5 players, and Mario Williams gets loose right at the right time. Tannehill feels it. That play was broken apart because the rush also scooped up the running back that was going to try and slip out for the screen pass.
Tannehill sacked 6 times 2 weeks ago against the Ravens. Has not been sacked less than 4 times in any game this season. So we'll see Sturgis, the rookie kicker, and it deflects off the uprights, and the 51-yard try is no good.
Sturgis was wide left at the very end of the game to send it in overtime last week, so 2 misses in a row for him, and that's a slump for a guy who's really gotten off to a great start in his career. This ball moved because of the wind. You see the flags at the top were both moving to the right, and this ball looked like it was going through and then got pushed about 2/3 of the way there, just to the outside edge of the upright. He hit that pretty good. I think he liked the way he hit it, and I think it got pushed by the breeze up high in the stadium.
Rookie 5th round pick out of the University of Florida. He had been perfect this year going into that 57-yarder with time running out 2 weeks ago against the Ravens, but the 2nd missed field goal from over 50 yards, and the Bills take over. Summers, the big fullback, rumbles forward and into Miami territory.
And that's just what we talked about in the task force, except this time they give it to the big fullback, which is a tendency breaker for the Buffalo Bills. They'll never give it to this guy in a single back set. He's a pass protector, and then a completely missed tackle by Rashad Jones in the hole. And those are the kind of plays that have plagued the Dolphins once in a while in all of their games.
And that was a pretty good move by the big man inside. The delay, and there's absolutely no running room there.
You know, and you think, why would Frank Summers be getting the football handed to him? I think it's a sign that the Bills running backs are nicked up. Now, Freddie Jackson comes back into the game, and maybe they did it as like I said a moment ago, to break tendencies and to show it on film that they will give that guy the ball and he won't always pass protect. But I think there's no question that this is a running game for the Bills that has to stay multiple, and they need to have all their guys available to run it.
Lewis adjusting the protection. Incomplete. Out of the reach of Stevie Johnson. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from Week 7. That is all coming up from New York on the Verizon halftime report. Third and 12 for the Bills. They lead it 14-7. From the Miami 45 and movement before the snap.
Yeah.
False start. Offense, number 11. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
And the Bills look a little bit discombobulated on both sides of the football right now. Not only on the touchdown for the Dolphins a few minutes ago, but right now you see there the noise got a little bit too much and they can't communicate very well, and the guys on the outside are just too anxious to get in their routes.
3rd and 17 from midfield. Dolphins showing blitz. See if they bring it. They do. One of them may have been across the line of scrimmage early. Floats it out there, and that's caught by Graham. It might be offsides on Miami. If so, the play will stand.
And I believe it was offsides on Miami. T.J. Graham bobbled that ball, but it looked like he grabbed it before he tumbled out of bounds.
Defense, number 50. That penalty is declined. Is out of the play. First down.
Now they might keep trying. They'll look at this upstairs, no question, but as Graham comes out, you'll see the guy on the line of scrimmage, number 11. He'll break right to the sideline. This ball will drop in right over the top of Patterson, and he did bobble it once, but he gets control of it before, and he doesn't move. That's a good catch by Graham, and a great call by the official.
There's a threatening here on first down. Jackson in the flat. Run out of bounds at about the 17 by Rashad Jones. That was good for 4 yards.
And at this point, Thad Lewis, 11 of 16 for 127 yards. And the interception, which was really, it wasn't his fault. It was a protection breakdown that led to his arm getting whacked. Ryan Tannehill not having the kind of day he envisioned going against this Bills team.
Another impressive performance so far from the man who 2 weeks ago was on the Bills practice squad. 2nd and 6. Coming again on the blitz. And Lewis hit as he released the football, incomplete. Deion Jordan, the rookie, first-round pick out of Oregon, hit him as he let go of the football.
Deion Jordan is going to be a great player for a long time. He was in the middle of every significant play against the Baltimore Ravens. He had his hand on the Joe Flacco interception that turned into a pick 6. He is a pass rusher that is really going to have a great career, has a great career ahead of him.
Dolphins moved up to get him as the 3rd player taken overall last April after that outstanding career at Oregon. So 3rd and 6 for Buffalo. Lewis, and he's sacked. The ball comes out. And Lewis may have been able to gather it back in.
And right now, the Bills are really struggling to pick up the pressure of Miami. They had seemed to get a handle on it early on as the plan became apparent that the Dolphins' plan was to really get after number 9 of the Bills. And now, once again, the Dolphins making some adjustments up front and still bringing the pressure, and it's getting home.
Randy Starks was the man who knocked it loose. And the reaction is for Dan Carpenter, the former Dolphin, now kicking for the Bills. And his reaction to that is to drill a 39-yard field goal. 3:14 left to go in the half, and the Bills extend their lead 17-7. Back in South Florida, and if you think bungee jumping into icy waters is amazing, you've got to see the Amazing Race tonight after 60 minutes. Only CBS. So the Bills drive it down the field, able to come away with 3 points. And they lead by 10. 30-yard pass to T.J. Graham on 3rd and 17. The key play there. 39-yard field goal by the former Dolphin. And he's ready to kick it away. Big Ten steps out of the back of the end zone. They'll bring it out to the 20. Now, Steve, good news for the Miami running game.
Well, they've really picked up the pace, and the word coming out, and we spoke to Joe Philbin, they spent a lot of time working on it and self-evaluating what was going wrong with their running game and their pass protection. And no question, when you've got a bunch of guys committed to improving, the Dolphins did just that over their bye week. Spent some time looking at themselves, practicing their own fundamentals, and there's no question it's paid dividends here today.
Bills have not been particularly good at stopping the run, giving up an average of 125 yards a game. Miami with 80 so far today. Quick strike out to Brandon Gibson. And a nice pickup on first down. Clock continues to run. 3 minutes remaining in the half.
Well, it's important, I think, for the Dolphins to get that little completion on first down. It keeps the Buffalo Bills defense honest, and it keeps the run game involved later in the series.
Tannehill stands in, fires, incomplete. Intended for Wallace. Mike Wallace with just one catch for 12 yards, and they still have not, Steve, gotten synced up.
Yes. Ryan Tannehill with one eye black on instead of two. Maybe he's a little unbalanced. I don't know whether he lost his eye black under his right eye or he's doing an early pirate imitation for Halloween.
3rd and 5. Wallace, and he is trapped in the backfield. McKelvin was all over that one, a loss of 7.
Well, except for the pick 6, this is the best defensive series the Bills have put together, and they do it at a crucial time with 2.5 minutes left in the first half. This is a play that hurt them badly a week ago against Cincinnati, and it's obvious the Bills have done their own self-evaluation and had a plan to attack that. No more dangerous a player to throw it to than Mike Wallace, but the Bills were all over it.
So Brandon Fields come in to punt once again, standing back at his own 3-yard line. McKelvin, the deep man for Buffalo. And to let this go down to the 2-minute warning.
This is the 2-minute warning.
Reach the 2-minute warning, 17-7 Bills. The Bills with all of their timeouts remaining as Brandon Fields comes out to punt it away. Leotis McKelvin makes it bounce, and it takes a Miami roll down inside the 25, down to the 23-yard line. 58-yard punt. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from this busy Week 7. That's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report from New York.
So Thad Lewis takes the field again. He's got 11 for 17 passing, but he's thrown 11 completions to 7 different guys. And I think that's a nod towards the problems he's had going back there and maybe throwing it to number. He's just throwing it to the first guy he sees because the pressure has been intense.
Lewis, incomplete. Stevie Johnson well covered on the play. Doug Moreau, we enjoyed our visit with him yesterday. He settled right in as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills in his first year. Coming over, didn't have to go far, coming over from Syracuse. 2nd and 10, Lewis underneath and incomplete, and Fred Jackson got leveled by Philip Wheeler.
Yeah, and this is a couple of pretty ugly offensive plays for the Buffalo Bills. It answers 3 pretty ugly offensive plays for the Dolphins. All of a sudden, these 2 defenses are taking over this football game. And with the Buffalo Bills throwing incompletions with 1:40, they're going to give the Dolphins back the football with a little bit of time on the clock if they don't get something going here on 3rd and 10.
Dolphins also with all of their timeouts remaining.
Don't be shocked if the Bills may hand this off.
Lewis, one-handed grab made by Jackson, and he's dropped at about the 30-yard line, and quickly Miami takes a timeout. Jelani Jenkins made the stop.
Miami, a 30-second timeout.
And Fred Jackson is hobbled, working his way to the sideline.
And once again, Fred Jackson doing his best to stay available to his team, but sooner or later it's just going to get the best of him. This is a little bit like a handoff, just a short pass through the middle, and those offensive linemen just can't find Jelani Jenkins. Jenkins, a player who's been practicing so well. Joe Philp has been talking about getting him onto the field more and more. And on that play, you can see there he wrenches the knee of Jackson once again on that tackle.
Jenkins, the rookie out of Florida, 4th-round draft pick.
Jenkins been practicing so well. Has been trying to do it, and because of injuries, of course, to Ellerby, it's giving him a chance to play more. But even so, they're looking for him to contribute.
Foreman. Punt. Moves up to field it and dropped immediately at the 24-25 yard line. A 44-yard punt. Marcus Easley was down in a hurry. You see why millions of fans have followed Person of Interest to its new night and time. Don't miss a new episode Tuesday at 10, 9 Central. Person of Interest only on CBS. 17-7 Buffalo. Dolphins with 2 of their timeouts remaining and 1:25 left on the clock. Doing well running the 2-minute drill. Bills show blitz. And here they come. Tannehill patting the ball and Hartline, and he brings it in. They rule it a catch.
That was a great throw and catch. Tannehill sliding away from the pressure, fits it in low and away from the defender. And that's not a catch. That's an incomplete pass, and we'll see if, and that'll be reviewed from upstairs.
The previous play is under review.
Yeah, Doug Marrone and the Bills have no say over this. This is the upstairs review booth, and they took a look at it as we did and immediately saw as the ball hit the ground on the catch. And that's, that was a great effort by Hartline and a good throw. Hartline working out there against Aaron Williams, and that ball just goes right to the ground.
And Hartline slow getting up. Gene Steratore will wait for word from upstairs.
You talk to guys around the league. We go around the league all the time, and this is one of the things they have a problem with, this replay on plays like that where it's obvious this still takes a big delay in the football game, and coaches and players would much rather have, if it's absolute, just have the upstairs official just say, hey, the call's overturned very quickly. But you have to, Gene Steratore has to go over and check it out and look at it. They talk about it, and inside of 2 minutes on a play that's fairly easy for all of us to call who've been watching the game at all, that's an easy call. But for the Dolphins here, they're going to move back probably and get this at second down from their 25. They still want to get down and pull some points out of this with 1:06 left in the first half. And Ryan Tannehill, this is a chance for the Dolphins really to grab momentum back in this game where the Bills have dominated in the early going. The Dolphins defense has really emerged.
The ruling is an incomplete pass. It'll be second down and 10. The ball will be in the middle of the field at the 25-yard line.
Warm day, no air conditioning under that hood, so that'll shorten the time to take a look at it.
21 seconds. 1:21 on the game clock, please.
Hartline is back up.
Thank you.
Looking okay. They'll reset the clock.
And what you lose in the reception, you gain on the clock, so they still have plenty of time to get down, and particularly in field goal range, certainly. But also give themselves a chance to maybe come away with a touchdown just before half, which would really change the complexion of this game.
50 triple.
Miller in the backfield with Tannehill, second and 10. Bring extra pressure. Tannehill waiting for the play to develop, going deep. Wallace! And a big play from the man they brought in to do just that. Gilmore made the stop.
Stephon Gilmore looks inside and stops his feet. Jarris Byrd, playing the center field position, can't get over to the sideline fast enough. And you can see there, Gilmore still playing with that club up because of his broken wrist. Really compromised a little bit on his ability to jam the receiver at the line.
Dolphins don't take a timeout. Tannehill to the sideline. Charles Clay, the tight end, and they rule him out of bounds. No catch.
Yeah, he tried to touch both feet down, and it ended up touching down on the white line. Easy call for the official, but he was wide open. Tannehill sees him, and you'll see as his feet come down right there. An easy call. Already in field goal position, so now you have to ask yourself a question for the Dolphins. How aggressive do you want to be? The points are vital in this game. You do not want to walk out of here doing something so aggressive you cost yourself a possession.
Still 2 timeouts remaining. Tannehill gets rid of it, and that's too high for Agnew, the intended receiver, but there is a marker down at about the 40-yard line.
This is going to go, looks like, against the Bills secondary. We've got 2 flags, one in the secondary, one in the backfield.
It's one on the opposite side of the field at about the 15.
There are fouls by both teams on the play. Holding, offense number 71, and illegal contact, defense number 23. Those penalties offset, replay, second down.
And that's a win for the Dolphin offense right there. It looked like they were going to get hold in the backfield that would take them out of field goal position. And instead, an illegal contact gives them another shot deep in Bills territory.
Jonathan Martin called for the hold, the left tackle, but offset by the infraction on Aaron Williams. So 2nd and 10. Once again, 34 seconds remaining in the half. Tannehill lost it. Gibson.
Oh, he called it a catch.
Rule that he came down inbounds.
Now they're going to come up. The Dolphins smartly will come up and try and get this to the line before they can review this play. And it'll be a question of whether his knee comes down before he has possession or whether he comes down out of bounds. Now he's got control.
The previous play.
The one knee down. Looks like to me that's a get. Now the ball moves as he hits the ground as well. We'll see. It might be possession, no question. I think his knee came down in bounds, which constitutes a catch, but when he hit the ground, the ball moved and touched the ground. He's in bounds. So forget that now. Does the ball move right there and touch the ground? Hard to see. Doesn't seem like it to me. That looks like a good call by the officials. I think this call will stand, even though there is a chance that that ball might have been bobbled as he hit the ground out of bounds.
And Tannehill, an interested observer.
You can tell what he thinks about it.
Another look.
When his knee comes down there, that constitutes possession in bounds. And if the ball rolls around in his arm, that's the only question as to whether this will stand as a catch or not.
Chiefs territory gets to make another trip to the sauna under that hood to review the call.
Yeah, that thing's not air conditioned. I don't think anything in this building's air conditioned, by the way. It's hot.
It is a warm day, and the Bills certainly up in Buffalo are not used to this kind of weather. There you go. Even if you're used to it, it's a warm day. Gentleman over there to the right there, Steve.
Yeah, that's got to be.
Borrowed your hair.
That, yeah. That guy's looking for air conditioning. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, they're talking. The longer they talk about this, the more interesting it becomes.
All right.
After review, the ruling is a completed catch. The receiver presents the ball and landed with one knee inbounds. One knee equals 2 feet. Therefore, it is a completion. First down, Miami.
That unique NFL math. One knee equals 2 feet, and that's a completion.
Yeah, and there's no question about that. The only question was if the ball moved enough in his possession after he hit, and they deemed they either didn't see it or that they didn't have enough evidence to overturn it. And that is a catch.
51.
So first down, 28 seconds left in the half. Dolphins still with 2 timeouts remaining. Tannehill steps up underneath. Gibson. Touchdown. 13 yards to Brandon Gibson.
Well, the Buffalo Bills have had hard time getting pressure on Ryan Tannehill, and down deep in Bills territory, Tannehill had all kinds of time to survey the field. The Dolphins spread it from sideline to sideline, and Gibson came wide open right between the hash marks.
Sturgis with the extra point, and it's a 3-point ball game. 21 seconds left to go in the half.
Watch as Tannehill steps up into the pocket. The Bills with a 4-man rush get no pressure, and Gibson turns in, makes the great leap from the 3-yard line. Great athletic move to get into the end zone.
Almost stuck the landing. Watch this.
Well, they don't deduct points off the scoreboard for taking a step on your landing.
He has really been the receiver that Ryan Tannehill has looked for, especially to move the chains. Coming in, 15 of his 24 catches were for first downs. That one results in a touchdown. Ryan Tannehill watching the rest of that play on the big screen as he gets up off the turf. Keep playing that drive, the 46-yard reception by Mike Wallace.
And that's one of the things that this Miami Dolphin team has done extremely well. We alluded to it. They are a tremendous red zone team. And with Tannehill being able to stand in the pocket like he did and accept the hit and deliver the football, the Dolphins spreading the football field from sideline to sideline with everybody out. Tannehill picked his spot and got the touchdown.
Just kicks it away to Goodwin and watches it go out of the end zone. Well, Doug Marrone played just 2 seasons in the NFL, but one of those years was for Don Shula here in Miami. He said he learned a lot from Shula, things that he tries to incorporate into his own coaching, including just being really straight with the players, Steve, so that everyone knows just what's expected of them and where they stand.
I think he does have a knack for knowing how players think and making sure his decisions reflect that. And the players, I think, do play hard for him, and they respect him as a former player. He's got a real handle on what makes him tick.
Feels satisfied to take a knee, leading by 3, 17-14 as the clock runs out here in the opening half. So one half is in the books. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Back in South Florida, ready to start the third quarter. 17-14 Buffalo. Bill McAtee back with Steve Tasker. A very entertaining first half, wasn't it?
Absolutely, and it's kind of the opposite of what we expected. Miami came in not being able to run the football at all up to this point, have run it very effectively, and the Buffalo Bills, the number 3 running team in the National Football League, can't get anything going on the ground because C.J. Spiller and Freddie Jackson are not 100%.
Let's take a look at the first half numbers confirming that.
As you see there, 32 yards rushing is an aberration for the Buffalo Bills, and the Dolphins, there were a couple of games when they didn't get a third of that this season in their games. So passing yards are kind of a push. The turnovers have been an issue for both teams. The one turnover for the Miami Dolphins turning directly into 6 points. But and the Buffalo Bills actually getting away with a turnover after getting a 3-and-out from the Dolphins and a missed field goal. So if you take away the missed field goal, if they could have put that field goal through, this is a tie football game, and it really feels like a tie football game. It's a very tight contest.
And Diet Pepsi encourages fans to bid on pink gear to benefit the NFL's A Crucial Catch campaign. Show you're fan enough by visiting NFL.com/auction to bid for pink. Dolphins trying to move their record to 4-2 today. That would give Miami their best start to 6 games in a decade. And Steve, you were a part of this rivalry for all your years in Buffalo. Certainly no love lost between these two teams back in those days when number 89 was racing down the field in kick coverage, getting to those 7 Pro Bowls. Bills will have it to start the second half. This flies out of the end zone. They'll bring it out to the 20. Look at our quarterback comparison.
And both these guys have struggled. I think the reason that they have is because of the pressure that both defensive fronts have been able to put on them. They've both been under duress. Tannehill got a shot right even on his touchdown pass just before halftime. Thad Lewis actually coughed the ball up with a hit in the pocket and was slow getting up one time. So both these guys are getting harried, and that's why the passing yards are not what these two guys would like them to be.
Thad Lewis, home here in South Florida, is the starting quarterback for the Bills against his beloved Miami Dolphins.
Thad Lewis in the game at quarterback, and Philip Wheeler. They faced each other in college. Philip Wheeler with Georgia Tech, and there were a lot of NFL players on that side of the football. Thad Lewis told us, they hit me so many times. And Philip Wheeler, after one of them, said, you've been hit so much, I'm going to help you up. Both of them remembered the game.
Philip Wheeler, a good addition to this Miami defense. To Spiller. Can't get loose. Dragged out from behind by Rashad Jones.
Yeah, that game obviously didn't go in the way of Duke, where Thad Lewis was playing quarterback. Thad Lewis had all the details. He knew every snap.
Really good athlete, also a heady player. Got through Duke in 3.5 years. Really learned a lot playing under David Cutcliffe at Duke, who worked with Eli Manning at Ole Miss and Peyton at Tennessee. 3rd and 9, opening possession of the second half. Lewis looking to his right, runs it out there to Stevie Johnson, who tries to stretch for the marker and will be a yard short. Dimitri Patterson made the stop after a gain of about 8.
You can see the Buffalo Bills thought Stevie Johnson extended the ball past the line, but it looked like he did step out before that. You'll see as he catches this near the flat, gets a nice tackle there, and that's Dimitri Patterson gets him, and that's his foot steps out back. And I think that's a good spot by the official. I don't think you want to waste a challenge on that one.
4th and 1, so we'll see the punting unit. Again, Brian Moorman back with the Buffalo Bills. Returned last week. They'll kick it away to Marcus Thigpen. This is a short punt. And goes out of bounds at around the 35. Just a 38-yard punt as Ryan Tannehill and the Dolphins on offense take the field.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
First possession for the Dolphins here in the second half. Ryan Tannehill has not been sacked today. First down. Looks left and guns it. That's caught for a first down by Brian Hartline. Giving Tannehill time to throw is a huge focus for the Dolphins during the bye week. 24 sacks coming in, puts them on a pace to pass the league record of 76, set by the unfortunate David Carr and the Texans during the Houston expansion years.
As these teams both come out of halftime, the Buffalo Bills struggling, going 3 and out offensively. The Dolphins here getting a first down on their first down.
Thomas in the backfield.
Go, go!
Has done a good job running the football today. Nice little jump cut to his left and snapped up at about the 45-yard line of the Bills. A pickup of 7 into Buffalo territory.
Both of these staffs at different times during the season have gotten kudos for their ability to adjust at halftime. On that first down play, the Buffalo Bills looked like they decided they're going to bring pressure and go man-to-man on the outside with a single high safety and dare Tannehill to get rid of the football or force him to get rid of the football, and they're going to try and manufacture pressure with just extra people. The 4-man rush was not getting there for the Bills in the first half.
Tannehill from the gun. Keep it on the ground with Thomas. Needs to find some running room over left tackle. Picks up a couple. Jay Ross made the stop.
Miami, you can see, committed to that running game. They didn't get enough credit for it, but albeit they only ran the ball 2 weeks ago against Baltimore 11 times the entire game, and so that's going to hurt hurt your rushing, but that was also a little bit a part of their plan as well to emphasize the pass.
They had run it only 45 times in their 3 games coming in today. 11 2 weeks ago against the Ravens. They pitch it out, and this is going to be another first down, and Thomas still on his feet and fights his way down to the 26. A pickup of 16 yards and a first down.
And a missed tackle by Jim Leonard added another 7 yards onto that. The end of that. Watch misdirection as everybody moves this way, and then the quick pitch out this direction, out the backside, leaving Mario Williams by himself to run this down. And that's a mismatch. One wrong step by Williams, and of course you're off to the races.
And it was Jim Leonard, really a sure tackler, who was not able to wrap him up and bring him down. So first down for the Dolphins from the 26. Getting down the field in a hurry, and another completion, this time to Wallace.
Yeah, the quick passing game there, and the Miami Dolphins in this first series after halftime making it look easy against this Bills defense. A 4-man rush that time. Tannehill had no problem stepping back in a 3-step drop and getting rid of it very quickly. I think the Dolphins expect the Bills to bring pressure on that time. They did not, and Tannehill, the easy completion on the quick slant.
11-yard gain, another first down. And Wallace 4 catches for 69 yards, including that long of 46. More running room inside for Lamar Miller. And he gets it down inside the 10 to the 9.
The Buffalo Bills are finding out right now why the Miami Dolphins were 3-0 at one to start this season. Running extremely well up the middle, complimentary, and Ryan Tannehill, athletic and strong-armed enough to pick the right guy in the open spot of the field. And of course, Mike Wallace and Hartline, enough weapons outside. As long as that offensive line can make holes in the running game, everything else will fall into place for the Dolphins.
2nd and 4 from the gun. Tannehill keeps it down close to the 5. Ryan Tannehill, who's a very good athlete. In fact, when he couldn't crack the starting lineup at quarterback back in college at Texas A&M, he played some wide receiver just to get on the field.
Well, Mike Sherman, the offensive coordinator of the Dolphins, was there for all of that, and it's a nod to his athletic abilities to let him carry it. And the Dolphins doing an outstanding job of play selection on this drive. The run game continues to be what drives this offense.
Tannehill changing the play. This has been a run-heavy drive, and they keep it on the ground again. Miller trying to get to the edge. He dives forward. Let's see where they spot this.
Well, they're going to spot it well short of where he went. I think it's still going to be a first down, but it looked like he got it easily. And then they just spotted it barely inside the 5-yard line. You watch as Miller comes out. And that's Nickel Roby coming in. I think, yeah, I don't know if they spotted it correctly or not. There's Jim Leonard once again meeting him, and that's a pretty good spot right there, I guess. I think it's enough to get the first down anyway, but it looked like a pretty accurate spot at first glance from up here in the booth. It looked like they moved him back almost a yard.
And you see one of the Bills being tended to over near the sideline as they take a look at this measurement. This is Manny Lawson, the linebacker. Came to the Bills after spending the last 2 seasons in Cincinnati, and by the nose of the football, a first down. It'll be 1st and goal, and Lawson slowly makes his way over to the sideline.
Well, you can feel it on the Bills side of the football. They scored 14 points unanswered, and then have allowed Miami to get back in it.
6 running plays of the 8 in this drive.
I think Miami came out after halftime and said, forget all that stuff we had up to this point. We can run the football on this Bills defense, and they decided they're going to do it early in the second half and force the Bills to get heavy inside to try and stop it.
Empty backfield and 1st and goal for Miami. Again, very good in the red zone this season. Tannehill quarterback draw. And he's brought down hard. That was forward progress. Got to about the 4 and then pushed back. Darius made the stop.
Forget what I said about good play calling. This is a mistake. You don't want these guys banging into that guy if you're the Miami Dolphins, and they do. Tannehill takes a pounding on this play. Darius sticks him. Kyle Williams piles on. The Dolphins want no part of that.
Darius able to shed the block by Richie Incognito to make the tackle. An outstanding play, and that brings up 2nd and goal for the Dolphins.
Go, go.
From the 4. Thomas. Dolphins downhill runner, and he gets it forward about a yard or so. Kiko Alonso made the stop. He has been an instant playmaker for Buffalo as a rookie in the middle. Came in leading the league in tackles, and already, Steve, with 4 interceptions.
Yeah, and this is where the Buffalo Bills and the Dolphins are going to have to convince them that they want to throw the football. So in response to the stiff defense the Bills have put up just here, now Hartline, Wallace, and Gibson come back onto the field for the Dolphins, and they spread them out.
Empty backfield.
Rocco.
From the shotgun. With time, pats it, finally takes off. Touchdown! Brandon Gibson with his 2nd touchdown reception of the game.
Looks like a lead guitarist of a rock band jumping into the crowd right there. I mean, this was all Ryan Tannehill buying time in the pocket. It was a three-guy rush by the Bills. Tannehill just slid away from the pressure, bought time by rolling to the wide side of the field, and Gibson pushed inside hard and then broke to the open corner.
Good-looking drive from the Miami Dolphins as they take the lead on the touchdown reception by Brandon Gibson. 21-17 Dolphins.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side. And by Kelley Blue Book. Everything you need to make a smart new car decision is at kbb.com.
We're back in Miami. The Dolphins did not have a 3rd down conversion in the first half. They were 0 for 7, but on that drive, 3 for 3. Goodwin takes it on the bounce at the goal line, the speedster. And brought down as he slips at about the 25, 26-yard line. And Thad Lewis ready to go back to work with the Bills trailing 21-17. We're back. They keep it on the ground at 1st down. Fred Jackson tries the right side. And Steve, let's take another look at the touchdown.
Well, the Dolphins have a concept at the bottom of your screen where you're going to have the receivers come up and try and pick and get these 2 defenders to run into each other. And when Tannehill comes out here, you'll watch, and everybody just gets all discombobulated inside. The defensive backs look around, can't find who they're supposed to have, and all kinds of guys are running free in the end zone. The quarterback, buying time for himself, makes that play happen.
Brandon Gibson, signed by the Dolphins as a free agent from the Rams. He had 60 catches for St. Louis last year, stacked up at the line of scrimmage. Fred Jackson, and once again, let's go to New York for an update. JB and Coach Cal.
Geno and his legs.
And that defense of the Jets, they already have a return for a touchdown. 4 sacks of Tom Brady. It sets this up. Geno Smith playing smart. No interception this time. He runs it in from 8 yards out. They take 14 unanswered points. 24-21 lead. The Jets.
Battling back and forth, Bill and Steve.
What a shocker that would be. Thank you very much, gentlemen. 3rd and 7 for Buffalo. Look at the standings there in the AFC East. Lewis, that's caught. Stevie Johnson working hard, and he's brought down near the sticks. That was a great individual effort and a first down.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that's plaguing the Bills as Stevie Johnson tries to get a piece of Deion Jordan as he rushes the passer. The Bills don't have enough time to throw the ball deep, so all the speed that they brought to the table today with a healthy receiving core has been negated by their inability to wait on them to get open.
Jimmy Wilson unable to bring him down, so a fresh set of downs. Lewis keeps it on the read option and slides down at the 43-yard line.
Thad Lewis questionable early in the week. He had a sprained foot in the game against Cincinnati a week ago. He told us yesterday, he knew it wasn't bad. He'd had the injury before in college, and it was really bad. So when he could finish the game, he knew that it wasn't going to be an issue for him this week. Although when you saw him run on that, smart idea to slide anyway.
Big up of 8, second and 2 for Buffalo. Trailing for the first time, they led 14-0, and Lewis wrapped up and sacked. Rashad Jones in the backfield in a hurry.
Now Freddie Jackson on a bum knee trying to pick up Rashad Jones and just can't do it. Rashad Jones does the right thing as he comes in, just shakes and bakes like he's got a running back and making Freddie Jackson miss him, and that's just a tough block in space. Rashad Jones does a great job of being patient, taking the time to throw some moves at Freddie Jackson and keeping his speed into the backfield to catch that Lewis.
Third sack of the day for the Dolphins. 3rd and 11 for Buffalo. Lewis again under pressure, gets rid of it just in time, and that's caught Stevie Johnson. And we've got a marker down at about the 25-yard line.
That's Thad Lewis being a leader for his team. His helmet was popped right off by the rush. I think Jason Trusnick got into the backfield.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, contact with the quarterback helmet, 15-yard penalty, added to the end of the run. The number is 53. First down.
Jelani Jenkins on the contact as he comes into the pocket, throws it.
Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 3 minutes, 34 seconds.
And that
right
is going to cost Jelani Jenkins some money.
And they will call that every time.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer, and it doesn't matter if you're Tom Brady or Thad Lewis.
17 yards
and that
on
was
the
a
completion,
and that really
15
was,
yards on the penalty, Steve.
That really was a great throw and catch, and that's the kind of play the Bills needed for a spark to get them down into Dolphins territory.
They'll run it on first down for Jackson. Fighting his way forward and finally stopped at the 26, 27-yard line of the Dolphins.
And one of the things about this Bills season is you kind of step back and look at the big picture and how it's unfolded. They have been competitive and close in every game. One reason, as you see, that helmet just came right off, and that he just popped right up. It didn't seem to. It's nice. It must be nice to be young. I tell you, that looked like it really hurt.
Lewis right on target to Robert Woods, the rookie out of USC, and he gets it down to the 16.
As I said, you know, as this season unfolds, the Bills have been in every game. They've been one of 2 teams in the entire NFL that has scored 20 points in each of their 6 football games, the other being the Miami Dolphins. The Denver Broncos.
They came within a field goal of beating the Patriots, took the Bengals to overtime. They were tied with the Jets and the Browns in the 4th quarter before those games got away from them. And the read option, Lewis keeps it, dives forward to about the 12. Wheeler brought him down.
You know, one of the things about this is you think about these quarterbacks running. Thad Lewis, all of a sudden, has become pretty valuable to the Bills team in the next couple of weeks until E.J. Manuel gets healthy enough to play.
Well, if you think about it, very similar kind of quarterback. He's mobile. He can make things happen with his feet. He would be, if it works out that way, the ideal backup for the Bills to have. High formation choice. Right tackle with some running room down to the 6.
And you see as the Bills get down into the red zone, this is also the point where you kind of mentioned this quarterback thing. They've signed Matt Flynn this week, so it's been a constant issue for the Buffalo Bills ever since Kevin Cobb went down to a season-ending injury in the preseason, and they were left with E.J. Manuel and another rookie, Jeff Toole, who did play well in the preseason, but is nowhere near ready to take on the starter's role in the NFL.
Flynn signed, but inactive today. 3rd and 1. They run the football. And a first down. It'll be 1st and goal from inside the 5 for the Buffalo Bills. Jackson picks up the first down.
And Freddie Jackson continues to step into the game. He comes off limping and goes back in and carries the football as well as he ever has. I mean, you really got to tip your hat to the toughness of Jackson. This running game for the Bills is what they hang their entire offensive scheme around, and if Freddie Jackson and C.J. Spiller are both out, they are really, really hurting.
12th play of the drive upcoming, trying to answer Miami's 11-play touchdown drive. Up the middle, bouncing out, and then the ankle tackle by Wheeler. Spotted at about the 4. Nearing the end of the 3rd quarter.
And the Bills are going to let it run out.
Miami Dolphins able to score a touchdown. They lead at 21-17. We'll return to Miami after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
If you're going to do it.
Ready to start the final quarter here in Miami with the Buffalo Bills threatening after the Dolphins took the lead. Only 3 possessions in that entire 3rd quarter. 2 by Buffalo and that long drive by the Dolphins.
I think in this situation, if I'm Buffalo, I got to make the Dolphins think I'm going to run or pass and do the opposite. You got to, with here, they got heavy people in bunch formation, but they got 3 wides on the field and 1 back with a tight end.
13th play of the drive upcoming as we start the final quarter. Incomplete, too high for Stevie Johnson.
Stevie Johnson thinks he was ridden up. They got a bunch formation or a tight formation right up here with T.J. Graham and Stevie Johnson. You see there the hold, and he's right. They did get away with one, being guarded there by Brent Grimes. He got held.
Stevie Johnson's really been limited for the Bills with just 3 catches in the last 2 games before missing last week against the Bengals. But today, 5 catches for 56 yards. 3rd and goal for Buffalo. They've been good on 3rd down, 7 of 13. Lewis ducks his shoulder, stops short of the goal line.
Yeah, and that's going to force the field goal, which is not all that bad for a Buffalo Bill team who was looking for a little momentum. They're going to come away here with a 3-point attempt. Thad Lewis doing a nice job just getting back to the line of scrimmage. You could tell he had the run-pass option. Didn't really want to tuck it, but was forced to by the coverage. Took the hit as a result.
Philip Wheeler stayed home, brought down by Derek Shelby and Wheeler. And so the Bills forced to try a field goal. And that was a nice job by Mormon on a dicey snap, but able to put it down. Carpenter puts it through. 21-20.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Windows Phone. Meet the new Windows Phone, the smartphone reinvented around you. And by Land Rover, above and beyond.
Bills coming away from that long drive with a field goal. Buffalo has had a unique start to the season. The only team in the NFL to score and allow at least 20 points in every game this season, and that has continued today as it's now 21-20. Been back deep. They'll take a knee and they'll bring it out to the 20. And Tannehill with a 1-point lead here in the 4th. We're back. The Bills have been very good at rushing the passer this season. 21 sacks, 3rd best in the NFL coming in. Mario Williams leading the way with 8, 3rd in the league, but no sacks today as the Dolphins have done a good job protecting Ryan Tannehill. Dolphins take over from their own 20, leading 21-20. Tannehill again with time to the sideline to Wallace. Let's see, do they rule that a completion?
No, they don't.
No, skipped off the turf.
You see this out here. Yeah, it does scooch the ground. He was in bounds. No, that's close though.
All right.
We're not going to challenge it.
You cool with that?
So 2nd and 10 for Miami. It's showing blitz. Incomplete. And that was intended for Mathis. Rashard Mathis unable to haul it in.
You talk about how this game unfolded. The Dolphins coming off their bye week had a big chance to work on their pass protection, work on their running game, fix some of their problems. The Buffalo Bills playing a lot of teams. They're the toughest schedule in the league because, in some ways, because they get a lot of teams coming off their bye. They get Miami off the bye this week, New Orleans off their bye next week.
And they get some teams coming off of Thursday night games.
So they get the Jets after their bye week and play them after a Thursday night as too. So the Jets get 2 long weeks before both games against their division rival Bills.
3rd and 10, they run the slant to Wallace, and he's going to be stopped short of the first down. Aaron Williams made the stop, and that'll bring out the punting unit.
Well, the first and second down set up the 3rd down short of the first down. It was a 1st and 2nd down failure by the Dolphins, not really a 3rd down failure.
Here it is from Kelvin, back deep again for Buffalo. 3 punt returns for touchdowns in his career, standing back at his own 22-yard line. Fields handling that toward the sideline unintentionally, and that will give the Buffalo Bills pretty decent field position. 13:22 left to play, a 1-point game.
And there's a flag on the field on the far side.
During the kick, holding number 93 of the return team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down, Buffalo. Timeout.
All righty. 13:22 left to play.
You are watching the NFL on CBS.
Only 35 yards on the punt, but 10 yards added because of the holding penalty. So instead of operating from their own 38-yard line, they'll go from the 27. Lewis, and that was a miscommunication, sent it way downfield and well over the head of Robert Woods.
And that was a miscommunication.
Start your Monday night with a great hour of comedy. How I Met Your Mother is now followed by Two Broke Girls. It's all new tomorrow beginning at 8, 7 Central, only CBS.
And it's interesting that the Bills bring in another tight end, Chris Gregg, who is down at the bottom. Chandler at the top as wide receivers, and 2 wide receivers in the slot position.
And then Lewis. C.J. Spiller. Forward progress will get him to amount to 28 and no more. Sosnick made the tackle.
C.J. Spiller is not 100%. He's trying to go, as is Freddie Jackson, who comes into the game now. But Spiller is really compromised by that ankle. You can see him there, not quite 100% erect as he even walks, let alone trying to play professional football, as the Bills go back with Freddie Jackson, bring Gregg out, and put 3 wide receivers on the field.
Well, Spiller and Jackson banged up. 3rd and 9 for Buffalo. They trail by 1. At one point, led 14-0. Lewis with time, and that is caught by the tight end Chandler, who's turned into one of the more reliable tight ends in the league. Big target at 6'7", 260. And that was good for a gain of 12.
And he also has good hands, which in this, as he turns all the way around, does the exact right thing, turns his entire body, gets both hands on it. And as you said, he's reliable. One reason that you can see him, the guy's enormous. He's 6'7", well over 250 pounds. He's an enormous target, and tough to get body up on him as a defender.
First set of downs for Buffalo from their own 41-yard line. Nice move by Jackson. able to find some running room. Brought down near the 45.
Yeah, no reason now for Buffalo to get, to get frantic in their offense, but their play selection should be exactly along their game plan. They're down by 1. They've kind of got some momentum back with that last field goal drive, but plenty of time in this game. And their running game with Freddie Jackson and Troy seems to be coming back around in the second half.
And they brought in Graham and Goodwin, so speed outside. Lewis trying to find someone open, finally has to get rid of it and tried to hit Scott Chandler looking for a flag, incomplete. Koomisi had the coverage.
Chandler thinking he got held, but Thad Lewis doing a nice job staying with his eyes down the field, not looking at the rush, feeling the rush, and getting rid of the football at the last possible moment, giving Chandler at least a chance for this completion.
Right before he was hit by Randy Starks, so 3rd and 6 for Buffalo. Choices in the backfield, along with Lewis. They rush 4. Lewis out wide to Stevie Johnson. He won't get the first down. Nolan Carroll closed in a hurry and brought him down.
Great tackle on the outside by Carroll. Got the stack formation with Graham and Johnson. Gives Johnson a free release. You can see how patient Johnson is, coming out looking inside hard, and Nolan Carroll doing a great job of getting there at the same time as the football with the sure tackle. Prevents the first down.
So we'll see the punting unit on 4th and 1. Foreman standing back at the 35. Kicks it away. A good high end-over-end punt. And it will bounce into the end zone for a touchback. A 50-yard punt. They'll bring it out to the 20.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Acura. Meet the extremely new 2014 MDX at Acura.com/MDX. Fidelity Investments. Take control of your personal economy. And by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
The Dolphins with a 1-point lead. Take over 1st and 10 at their own 20. 10.5 minutes left to play. Ryan Tannehill with 2 early interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown, but he has settled down since. And finally the pocket collapses. Lots of time, but Nigel Bradham came in and sacked him. First sack given up today by the Dolphins, and there's a marker downfield at about the 45.
And this is going to go against, there's going to be a hold in the defensive secondary. And this looked like a coverage sack, and I guess one of the reasons is they were holding.
Defense, number 24, 5-yard penalty.
And there's no question Tannehill likes to throw the football to hard lines. We said early in the broadcast, these two were really the only 2 weapons the Dolphins had last year. And I think if you have a chemistry as a quarterback with a receiver, and if you've got a guy you think you can beat one-on-one, you're going to look at him the entire day. And Stephon Gilmore, while he's a #1 corner, is compromised by his inability to grab with 2 hands and use both those hands. And right now it looks like they're picking on him.
Online over 1,000 yards receiving in his breakthrough season last year. Gives the Dolphins another first down. Other side to Gibson, who's wrapped up after a pickup of a couple.
One of the things that some people are saying, well, why are they throwing that right now when they're working so well down the field? One reason is the Bills have been susceptible to it. And it's an easy completion in a game when it's this crucial and you want to keep control of the football. Maybe you can get your guy to break a tackle. It's an easy completion, not a very risky play, and it's one that your opponent has struggled in stopping. So I think that's one reason they throw that little wide screen at this point of the game.
Thomas the deep back, 2nd and 8.
Go!
Step drop and down he goes. Hammered by Super Mario Williams. Tannehill didn't even have time to get set.
Wow. Wow, wow. Coming right down right there, the hard inside, and man, he just, Tyson Clabo whiffed, completely whiffed on his block. Mario Williams ran that pass rush against air.
9th sack of the season for Mario Williams.
And that one, yeah, tip your hat to Tannehill for getting up.
First sack given up by the Miami Dolphins. Daniel Thomas nowhere to run. Kiko Alonso, the rookie, made the stop. And that'll bring out the punting unit.
You know, just when they needed it most, the stars of the Bills defense come to the forefront. You see there Mario Williams, those updated numbers with that sack up to the top 3 of the National Football League this season. Of course, Kiko Alonso, the rookie, making that last tackle on the screen pass, giving the Bills the opportunity to get the ball back offensively.
Fields on again to punt it away. End over and punt. Kelvin able to make the fair catch near the 7-yard line. That was a 43-yard punt. 5:42. Defensive stand by the Bills as they finally get to Ryan Tannehill, and they'll take over at their own 7. Only the 4th possession of the second half for the Buffalo Bills as they start on the ground, left side, and no gain for C.J. Spiller. Solei made the stop.
This Dolphin defense is anchored by Randy Starks and Paul Solei down inside. Both those guys looking for new deals, long-term extensions with the Dolphins. They both turned 29 and they're both coming up for free agency, and the Dolphins kind of need those guys.
That may have been a busted play. Dimitri Patterson was coming on the corner blitz, and Thad Lewis had nowhere to go.
Well, it was going to be a play-action pass with Thad Lewis looking to the backside of the play-action. He was going to fake the run to the other side and turn back and throw it, and Patterson was right in his face. No chance for that. If the guy doesn't go for the play fake, your quarterback's in deep trouble. And Thad Lewis took the sack.
4th sack by the Miami Dolphins. Pushing Buffalo all the way back to the 3, 3rd and 14. Lewis from his own end zone. Lots of time, checks it underneath to Robert Woods, and the rookie is dropped right away, short of the 10. That'll bring out the Buffalo punting unit.
That puts this back on the defense for the Buffalo Bills in a game where, as you said, there's only been 4 possessions in this second half for the Bills, and 2 punts and a field goal, and then this punt as well. So their defense is going to be asked late in the 4th quarter to step up once again and get the football back and give the offense a chance to get the field goal to win it.
Norman standing 5 yards deep in the end zone. Gets it away. Big Pen able to keep his feet and finally brought down by the second wave. Westerman made the stop. Jamal Westerman, backup linebacker. 43-yard punt. The Dolphins will take over near midfield.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Aflac. When you're sick or hurt, Aflac pays you cash. Find out more at Aflac.com. And by Subway Restaurants. Try the Tuscan Chicken Melt $6 footlong special today.
Dolphins from their own 48-yard line. Just over 3.5 minutes remaining. 21-20 Miami.
Go, go!
Power I formation. The right tackle. And at midfield, Thomas brought down. 2 things, Steve, that the Dolphins felt like they had to do today. Run the football and protect Ryan Tannehill. They gave up a sack in the previous series to Mario Williams, but on the whole, they've done a good job with both of those things.
Absolutely. I think it's been the difference in the game, and now they've got the perfect opportunity for the Miami offense to run their 4-minute package, which means They'll run the football at every opportunity, and if they do throw it, the receivers will stay in bounds, the running backs will stay in bounds. They'll use every second of the play clock as it ticks down now inside 6 seconds.
28, go!
2nd and 8, the Buffalo defense needs a stop. Tannehill loses the football, and the Bills have it. Kyle Williams comes away with the football, and a huge mistake by the Miami Dolphins and Ryan Tannehill.
That is unbelievable by the Miami Dolphins. He gets good pressure. Mario Williams sack strip, pulls it out. If Kyle Williams could just gather that in and get off the ground, he could have run into the end zone because he had some help back in the backfield, but he can't gather it in. That saves the Dolphins game right there for the time being. The Buffalo Bills already in field goal range. Now they may have the opportunity to run the clock down as far as they can to leave less time for Ryan Tannehill to come back and win this game offensively. What an enormous sack strip by Mario Williams.
From the 34. Buffalo will run it. Not much room for Fred Jackson. Soliai was in on the stop.
Miami, a 30-second timeout.
Dolphins take a timeout. Another look at the strip sack.
Once again, Mario Williams just powering through Claybo, the right tackle. Sack strip, and you can see him talking to Kyle Williams. Pick it up. It looked like Kyle Williams might scoop it and go the distance right in the last 3 minutes of the game, but he couldn't gather himself in. And I know as a player, that you can't do it fast enough. You're so excited and so, so keyed up about picking up. You can't get yourself to do the smooth athletic thing. If there was no pressure, he'd probably scoop that up one-handed.
Big man not used to making that kind of a move, but was able to fall on the football nevertheless, and a big turnover for the Buffalo Bills. 2nd and 9. 2:42 left to play after the timeout. High formation for Buffalo. They keep it on the ground. Jackson.
One guy as this play goes down inside the 30.
Miami, a 30-second timeout.
And this is one scenario that guy right there probably laid awake at night dreaming about.
Dan Carpenter, former Pro Bowl kicker, who spent the last 5 years here in Miami, and he may have a chance to win it for the Buffalo Bills. Missed his first field goal try as a Bill back in week 2. Made everything since then, including 3 from 50 yards.
When you think about the last couple of weeks, as the Dolphins kicker Caleb Sturgis missed a kick from 57 yards last week to send it into overtime, or 2 weeks ago to send it in overtime against Baltimore, and missed his opening kick today that would have made this a 24-20 game. And now the former Dolphin kicker looking right down the barrel of a chance to win it for his new team.
Jackson fights his way for a first down. What a great individual effort from Fred Jackson, who is banged up, but able to get the first down. And Miami will take their last time out after a pickup of 10.
And you talk about this as Miami trying to get this football back with enough time on it. They have now used all 3 of their timeouts. With 2:26 to go, they'll also get the 2-minute warning. I think it's the exact right move. With the Bills already in field goal range, they know that if they can stop the clock, they're going to force the kick, and they're going to catch the Buffalo Bills being conservative offensively, as you see there, Fred Jackson.
And he has been a warrior today for the Buffalo Bills, playing hurt, but able to pick up a crucial first down.
A free agent out of Coe College, picked up by Marv Levy, and who has been one of the guys through the midst of a lot of rough seasons, made himself beloved to the Buffalo Bills fans in Western New York.
Get a breather. They bring in Tashard Choice. He's the deep back. And up behind Frank Summers, the fullback. Follows Summer into the right side. And down inside the 15, down to the 14.
Yeah, the Bills
made the stop, Steve.
Excuse me, the Bills are going to let this go to the 2-minute warning. Exact right thing to do, and the Dolphins can do nothing now with no timeouts. This game on a sack strip by Mario Williams out of nowhere after the Dolphins protected Tannehill the entire game. One mistake may cost him.
2 minutes left to go, 21-20. 2 minutes remaining. The Bills in scoring position, down by 1, and coming up after the game, time permitting, the NFL Today update presented by Aflac. Join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from around the league in Week 7. Mario Williams had the strip sack. Kyle Williams able to recover it, and that is what has given the Bills a chance.
Ryan Tannehill standing in the pocket was clean all day. Took some hits, but really because he held on to the ball and made the play from the pocket. But his offensive line doing a great job up until the last 2 series when they forced the turnover.
The Dolphins cannot stop the clock. They're out of timeouts. Jewish gets it down to the 11. There is Dan Carpenter.
And this, if it gets inside, they'll have if the Bills can let it run down in time, it'll be less than 40 seconds if they kick the field goal and let the play clock run all the way down on both downs. This is a 3rd down, and this will get the play clock down inside a minute 10, it looks like.
Move it to the left, so we do it.
A minute 15. And that'll be 40 seconds off of that, depending on the length of this play.
And continues to run. Choice tripped up in the backfield by Philip Wheeler.
And now Buffalo will let the clock run.
And there is Dan Carpenter, former Pro Bowl kicker, spent 5 years here in Miami.
The Bills, rightfully so, I think this is a good move by the Bills with 3 timeouts left. They'll let this play clock run all the way down and take a timeout just before the play clock runs out and allow Carpenter to gather himself. And they'll warn Carpenter, say, listen, we're going to call the timeout, relax, don't run out there and think you're going to have to kick it. And Carpenter looking forward to this moment, you know, all week leading up to this game.
First charge timeout, Buffalo.
Bills have been in every game this season. Week 1. Down to a late field goal.
36 seconds on the game.
Week 2, Manuel with the 2-yard touchdown pass to Stevie Johnson. Bills won it. Kiko Alonso, 4th-quarter interception of Joe Flacco. They beat Baltimore. Week 6, tied the game with 1:14 remaining against the Bengals, able to come from 2 touchdowns back, but then it was a Mike Nugent 43-yard field goal to win it for Cincinnati.
The last field goal that Carpenter hit, it was a shaky snap, but a great hold by Brian Moorman. This, a chip shot from 31 yards.
A long-time Dolphins kicker has a chance to win it for Buffalo. Right through the middle. 33 seconds remaining. And we'll see now if the Bills defense can make that stand up.
And for the first time, the clouds are over the stadium. It just got cloudy in Miami, and these Dolphin fans are sick.
23-21 Buffalo.
And I'll tell you what, this is a time when the Miami Dolphins came into this game, got off to a rocky start with the pick 6 early. They battled back, took the lead, had control, and that guy right there with a big sack on one series to force a punt, and then the sack strip to force the turnover, recovered by the Bills in Dolphin territory, and that right there led to the play of the game, resulting in this field goal to give the Bills the lead.
Never a doubt from Carpenter, who still holds the Dolphins record for longest field goal with that 60-yarder he kicked against the Browns back in 2010.
The Bills on the road in their own division, facing the Dolphins coming off a bye week, well rested, giving themselves a chance with 33 seconds to win this game.
Big pin. Finds some running room. Carpenter slows him down and finally pushed out of bounds. And if it wasn't for Carpenter, he might have gotten loose up the sideline and gone all the way.
In the last week's game in overtime against the Cincinnati Bengals, the Buffalo Bills allowed a late punt return to set up the winning field goal in overtime. They do the same thing here. I don't know why they kicked this football. I think Carpenter, you know, he's got to try and kick that out of the end zone. It looked like he deliberately kicked it short to set up the return. You can't give up a touchdown return if you kick the ball out of the back of the end zone. The only thing that could happen bad for the Bills is if the guy gets a chance to return the ball. And it looked like a deliberate short kick by Buffalo.
Bills are going to take a timeout. They have one remaining in order to get everything set and make sure they know where everybody's supposed to be.
Looks like Doug Marrone, talking to the far side official, has some sort of point of contention as to what happened on that last play. Maybe he was thinking they had a hold or something like that, but they took the timeout. I think one reason they take the timeout there is to get a handle on exactly what personnel combination they want on the field against Miami, and get a handle on what personnel Miami's got on the field, and just recheck their defensive calls.
They're calculating that they have to get it down to the 36-yard line to be within field goal range for Sturgis.
Well, Sturgis had the length on the 57 last week. It was wide left, but a 57 is not out of the question.
He's made 2 from 50-plus this year. Tannehill tipped away, intended for Wallace. Some nice coverage by McKelvin.
Well, McKelvin extended and just got a hand on that. Good jam at the line of scrimmage. McKelvin recovers to get a hand on it. Tannehill had to get rid of it. He had to pick himself up off the ground. The Bills now, with that pass rush, finally getting to Tannehill late. In situations like this, Bill, don't think plays, think players. Look for Mike Wallace or Brian Hartline.
19 seconds remaining. Tannehill to the sideline, incomplete. Hartline was the intended receiver. He was covered by Aaron Williams, and it was well short.
Yeah, the crowd doesn't like it, but that was a good no call. Williams wasn't making contact right there. They had their hands on it, both players trying to get their hands on the other. That's a no call. But it is the kind of play that the Dolphins, you can bet that every receiver is going to make that look as physical as they can. The critical time now is the Dolphins have got to pick up this first down, and there's 13 seconds. They've got to stop the clock as well.
Tannehill. Bills rush 4. Throws deep. And over the head of Hartline, who had a couple of steps. 6 seconds remaining.
And now the Dolphins are relegated really to the Hail Mary or the lateral play. The Cal Stanford play. They've got to throw it now at the 50-yard line. Tannehill's got the arm to get it to the end zone, and rightfully so. You just want to get it to the front of the end zone. You don't want to throw it over the back. You want to throw it to where if it's tipped in any direction, it stays in play. So look for the Dolphins and Tannehill.
Third and final charge timeout, Buffalo. A 30-second timeout.
If they don't throw the football, in the short to try and lateral and keep one of those lateral plays alive, look for them to throw this to the front of the end zone.
Well, coming up next, Arian Foster and the Texans take on Alex Smith. And the surprising Chiefs are Joe Flacco and the Ravens. Rumble with Big Ben and the Steelers, while the Browns battle the pack. Check local listings for the game in your area. Doubleheader Sunday, the NFL on CBS. 6 ticks of the clock remaining for Ryan Tannehill, and the Dolphins trying to avoid a 3rd consecutive loss.
And unbelievably on that last play, Brian Hartline got behind the defense, and Tannehill, because of the pressure, just overthrew it. Hartline was open. And that's, you got to wonder what the defense defensive backs of the Bills are thinking in that situation to let a guy like Hartline, a guy who we just mentioned, is either going to be Hartline or Mike Wallace, and to let that guy right there who's hurt you all day get loose. Kiko Alonso on Hartline at the bottom, the bunch formation at the top. They'll have 2, 3, 4 rushers, 5 rushers.
Able to get away from Mario Williams. And Williams again closing from behind. The Hail Mary incomplete. And Tannehill did a good job just getting rid of the football. But incomplete, and the Buffalo Bills have won it.
And I'll say this about the Miami Dolphins, just like he did all day, Ryan Tannehill gave his team a chance. Yes, it was a last-second desperation, but a great avoid. Mario Williams can't end the game right there. Tannehill stays alive and puts this ball in play down the field, and it looked like for a moment the Dolphins' prayer might be answered.
So the Buffalo Bills come away with the victory on the road. They run their record to 3-4, and the Miami Dolphins unable to snap their losing streak after starting the season with 3 consecutive wins, now 3 straight losses, and they are even at 3-3. Final score, 23-21 Buffalo for Steve Tasker, Bill McAtee saying so long from Miami. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. Coming up, the NFL Today update presented by Aflac. We'll take you to New York for all the scores and highlights from Week 7 right after this.